So now we want to look at the assurance that God hears our prayers. Now, this is not exactly the same thing as God gives us what we ask for. And so I want to share a story from my earlier years that kind of how this imprinted this truth, but this distinction also imprinted itself on me. It goes back to my high school years. And in high school, I participated in all kinds of sports. I loved sports. I was good at it. It was fun. And so that kind of kept participating more and more as opportunities arose. I did it not only because it was fun, but also I started to realize it was I got recognition from other people because of that, and therefore it became kind of like my center or source of identity. This was who I was. And I remember one day we had a track and field event, and I participated in a number of events, and it had gone well. And but the next day, my body broke out in red hives, started on my legs, then on my back, and then maybe 2, 3 days later, my knees started to swell up, both legs, and it was painful to walk. We went to the doctor, and they didn't know what it was. And eventually, in a week or two, the hives disappeared, but my legs, my knees were always swollen, and I couldn't do anything beyond walking. Even sometimes that was painful. So during that year, it was lasted about a year. I went to all sorts of clinics and doctors, especially to try to figure out what was wrong. I tried different things. Nothing worked. No one could figure out what it was, or even more importantly, solve the problem. So during that year, I would pray and I would say, God, heal me. And of course, but that didn't work either. I tried different ways and places, and but it didn't work. No, it was like heaven was silent. And I remember then getting increasingly angry and frustrated. I took it out on saying, to people around me and God, and I started to kind of like heal me, and demand it, and but that wasn't working either. I didn't handle it in a very mature way. I was frustrated. Uh, but slowly, after about a year, so I wasn't getting my prayers answered. I wasn't get what I'm asking for wasn't coming my way. But after towards the end of this year, I was kind of thinking, um, I realized I'm not asking, I'm demanding, and I'm demanding with the tantrum and taking it out on people around me. I just thought, is that a good thing to do and to be? And then I started to realize it dawned on me that the reason I'm frustrated is I'm losing this recognition that I would get. And it wasn't only the sport itself, the doing of it, but the recognition and the source of identity that came along with it. And so I remember, after about a year and I wasn't getting anywhere, and I just kind of like gave up. And I said, okay, God, if, it was not a kind of asking thing, it was more like, I'm not going to demand anymore. And I was kind of like, if this is your will that I not have this for the rest of my life and I have the pain, then help me to accept it and live with it. That was kind of what my prayer was. And it was like a surrender. And the funny thing was, about a week later, the problem in my knees went away. It never really come back. And so it's a fascinating story. The For me, the most important part of that story, people think, well, you got healed. That was kind of like, to this day, I don't know what happened, why, and what went on. But the whole idea of learning to trust God, even if it wasn't happening the way I wanted it to happen, imprinted itself on me. So I learned then that God hears, and He had probably something else in mind. He wanted me to learn some things about myself, more in mind than just running around. So He, as my Father in heaven, was looking out for me. He was attentive, but he wasn't kind of like my genie and rub the lamp, and my requests, my demands kind of come through. And so we're gonna even to this day though, it's a slippery fish because I sometimes I when things are going my way, I can rest on that easily enough. But when things aren't going my way, then I need to have this assurance that God is hearing my prayers, even if it doesn't look like it. And so I hope that this will also anchor you with an assurance that'll see you through all these times. God hears what you're praying for.